When Bonnie Brooks was first appointed as the surprise new president of the venerable Hudson's Bay Company, the headlines asked, "She's smart, she's fearless, she's charismatic. But will that be enough to revive Canada's oldest company?" Well, it's a few years later, and by bravely moving the chain upscale and putting an emphasis on fashion at exactly the time of the worst recession since the Great Depression, Bonnie appears to actually have put it off. She appears to have actually put some romance back into retailing at the Bay. So, Bonnie, many have tried before you, but to you alone goes the prize. Bonnie Brooks.
Thank you. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Thank you for inviting me here today. I feel so completely different from all the rest of the speakers. Mine is not nearly the same kind of story. My story is probably a different kind of bravery. But my journey is no less one of passion, just a slightly different kind of passion. I'm a retailer. I've been a retailer for more than 35 years. I did take a little side trip into publishing for a little while when I was the editor of Flair. But I've always had a passion for style and for creativity, and I've had a lot of fun bringing that to various retailers around the world. So it's funny Moses would mention that, but actually when the announcement was made that I was coming back from Hong Kong to take this role at the Bay, the Globe ran a story, and I read the comments underneath the story. I was still in Hong Kong, and one of the comments was, "Good luck, Miss Brooks, you're going to need it." So I will say that luck has been something that I've believed in, like we heard this morning from Miss Chopra. The intent and the imagination can do great things when you really think that luck is on your side, and luck has been on my side quite a lot, I must say. So I'm a retailer, and I love the magic of retailing and inventing things. And for me, it's retail's not about buying and selling. It's about taking ideas that come from all kinds of different places and turning them into reality, and turning ideas into excitement, and exciting people into coming in, not bringing people in with sale events and things like that. So I'm a very non-traditional kind of retailer to be taking on Canada's oldest department store. I thought I'd talk a little bit about the business and the history, because the Hudson's Bay Company is actually one of the oldest companies in the world, if not the oldest company in the world. There's one other company that claims that to be the oldest, and it's actually the Royal Dutch Shell Company. It changed its name, however, from the East India Trading Company. So actually it doesn't really qualify, because our company is the oldest company in the world under the same name, continually. So it all started in 1670 with the brilliant King Charles II of England, who granted the charter to the Governor and Company of Adventurers of England trading into Hudson's Bay. That charter was for all the rights, for all of the land draining into the Hudson's Bay, which at that time was 1/12 of the world's land. What a great history. Amazing company. That is the actual charter, and the charter, for any of you who have not seen it, well, some of you may have seen it, it has traveled in various museums around the world, but the charter is in our offices and is locked up every night in a big, beautiful glass box, and it actually has the value of the Magna Carta. Basically priceless. The company has its own coat of arms. And this was created in the 1600s, and it was created by people who were sort of dreaming about what these animals looked like, and they were living in England, but they didn't really know what beavers and elks and things were. So we've got some really outrageous kinds of heraldic imagery in our archives. Quite fun. This was from the 1700 or the 1800s, and this is when people were all heading to the Klondike, and we were the absolute store that you could go to and be completely outfitted for gold digging. And this I found in the archives, and I thought it was quite funny because actually I am the officer of the company now, and no one's offered me this yet. But we're thinking about reviving it, especially since Bob Peter, who's one of the former presidents of the Bay, is actually the head of the LCBO now. So he might like to know that we actually have some rights to selling alcohol in this country and to creating it as well. This was one of our first stores. It was a fort. This is a fort at Fort Langley. A beautiful, beautiful photograph of this old fort. And we persevered all through the 1800s. We built beautiful stores across Canada, 7 of which we still own and operate. And incredible architecture. This was for the Queen's coronation when she was in Canada. And over the years, we were purveyors of food. This is one of the food halls of the Bay. And many, many other products. This is all out of the archives. But actually, in the late 20th century, department stores were really beginning to become dinosaurs. And I feel quite fortunate that I'm one of a handful of believers around the world in the department store business and trying to bring it back to life. This company all started with the blanket. This is called a point blanket. And this was the first currency of Canada. This blanket was traded for pelts and really was our original currency. And if you can see the little stripes on the side, those are the points of the point blanket. And the number of points indicated how many pelts you needed to trade that blanket. This is Gene Tierney in the 40s in a poster of a movie called Hudson's Bay. And these are the stripes today. And what I really wanted to talk about today was collaboration. And it's always, I've always believed in relationships, and I've built relationships with many people around the world who have really helped greatly in making changes in department stores with me. And the idea came to us last year to ask designers around the world who were Canadian to take the blanket and make it into something new and fresh. And this one is from the Smythe Girls, who sell in Bergdorf's and in Barney's, and made this beautiful jacket for us. It also appeared on the cover of Fashion Magazine. And it's through collaborations like this that we're really reaching out to Canadians to say, help us embrace this wonderful company and engage with us in its reinvention. The stripes are no real, they've been on many covers of many incredible magazines, but this is the one that when I found it in the archives I like the best, because it's the design issue of Architectural Digest, and you can see that the stripes were very much alive on the bed up in the left-hand corner, and have been truly iconic throughout time. We built a little log cabin in the Vancouver store with our friends Yabu Pushelberg. So we call this the Modern Log Cabin, and had this out in Vancouver in the big superstore when we were the headquarters for the Olympics in Vancouver this past winter. I was going to talk a little bit about the Olympics, but that's another whole subject unto itself, but certainly was one that was great for the company because it helped act as a catalyst to make some change within the company that really needed to be made. And we were so fortunate that to be part of something that ended, that was an amazing experience of being a catalyst for the whole country in terms of what the Olympics did for Canada this past February. This is a little silver flask that one of the designers made, and it has the Hudson Bay crest on one side, but on the other it says, "Keeping Canadians warm since 1670." And this is a canoe that we had designed by one of the country's most important canoe makers, actually in Peterborough. And this is a cedar strip, beautifully constructed canoe with the original canvas that was used back in the 1700s, actually applied to it. And we did that one in the beautiful stripes. And these are two fun paddles, and actually it's one paddle, two sides, and on one side it says up the creek, and on the other it says with a paddle. So we're having a little bit of fun and irreverence with our stripes and our Canadian heritage. This article was quite interesting because I don't think we've been on the cover of a magazine in this way for quite some time, and it says Glamour Style Profit the Bay. So this ran after we decided to take a very bold move and start at the top of the company and start actually at the top of the fashion pyramid. So a bit of a bold and brave move for the company. And again, we engaged Canadians to help us on this journey. And so we started with the Room. We knew that the Room had some history, actually had been started in the 30s, and was one of the first to bring designer fashion from Europe into Canada. But it had become quite a small, insignificant area in the store, very dusty, and I admire the people who actually found their way to the Room all through the past few decades, who found the things in there, because by the time I joined the company and saw the Room, it really was not what one would say would be impressive. And we asked Yabu Pushelberg to help us design this. It's won many, many awards, but it was really to take the company on a fashion journey that it had not been on for many years. We brought in 60 new designers into this area in a period of about 7 months. So we were out on the road constantly, convincing people to help us out with this new journey for the Hudson's Bay Company. And it's been incredibly successful. It's a very loft-like space on the 3rd floor of one of the iconic buildings at Queen and Yonge Street. And we made, we wanted it to feel the vibe of what's going on in that area. An amazing area full of loft spaces. So we took this big, beautiful space and took it right back to the windows. It really is a gorgeous space. And all the artwork is by Canadian designers, and that's out of coat hangers, of course, because of the business we're in, that beautiful piece of hanging art in the center. So it's lots of fun. And we also engaged some other Canadians to help us out with this project. We certainly wouldn't have the budget normally to hire someone like Daria Warbury. I'm sure you know who she is. She's a supermodel of the world at the moment. She is Canadian, lives all over the world, and helped us out by being the face of the Room for a campaign we ran in full pages right across Canada. And when I showed this to Azzedine Alaia personally a couple of months ago, he said it was one of the best campaigns he's ever seen. And that made all of us very, very, very proud. And I think that is really my story, is that we're proud to be able to engage with Canadians, and there are a lot of people who are rooting for our success in the industry. So it's really a real pleasure, and I'm very proud to have this role, to be at the Bay at this time in its life. And we also called on our friends in the media to help us out. And I'm going to play a little video that Jeannie created for us.
That the Room was actually the first import of high fashion labels to Canada.
I'm so honored to be in this room. There isn't an ugly garment in the place. It makes you want to shop. They raised the bar.
Fabulous dress. Where'd you find that dress?
I found it at the Bay. Would you have ever thought that you'd be able to find our Vélégé at the Bay? And now you can. It's great.
Why is it important for you to be involved with a company like the Bay?
Well, I think, first and foremost, it's one of the oldest companies in, I think it's North America. I grew up going to the Bay, and I think it's important for me to support Canadians and support a Canadian company.
That's nice there.
People have such a fondness for the room. Like, people have their memories. There's such a generational feel to the room. The room always supported young designers. We were the first store to support Givenchy in Canada, and I think that's important for us to continue bringing in new faces. People like Erdem. This was look number 2 on his spring runway. Well, this is obviously from the Proenza Schooler runway collection for spring. And I just look at the textures and the colors on here. And this collection was so extraordinary.
We're obviously all pretty wowed by the room. It's quite a gorgeous place, and to now have your face associated with it to this degree, how does that make you feel?
I'm proud of them. I think it's great for Toronto and for Canada to be kind of stepping into a world of fashion that was never there before.
Peter Newman actually wrote many, many books about the Bay. I'm sure you have read them. You probably know that we are in the curriculum of all the public schools in Canada as part of the framework of the country. But the one thing that stuck in my mind when I went back through Peter Newman's, all his messages, was that the Hudson's Bay Company is a company that became a nation. And I think that's a wonderful sort of legacy to have. And again, I'm thrilled to be at the helm of this company at this very brief moment in its 340-year history. And my time there will be like a little speck on the history of the company. But it will be fun, and we're having a great time. And I'd like to invite all of you in this room, who I'm sure have amazing ideas, to help us out, to help us on this journey, and to share your ideas with us. Thank you.
I want to say something that I've said in the past, though not that recently. There's a peculiar thing that happens when we're giving these kinds of talks. When artists are involved, the audience is generally enthralled to hear about their work, whether it's whatever medium they're working in. But when business is involved, it's dealt with considerable suspicion. And I've always insisted that there are people who are artists of business, and I think you're one of them.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So,
My goodness.
thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you.